let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go. Six. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along on a Tuesday. I'm Travis Justice. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that like button, leave a comment, set those notifications. Follow us on the social media channels, X, Facebook, Instagram. Let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend, the new Ross Peterson that I like a lot. The new Ross Peterson. The Ross Peterson that gets in his car, turns on his phone, and decides to record random videos where he talks about the national debt.
Those were meant just for you. The first, and nobody ever saw the first one that I sent. And then the second one, I shared that, and Courtney was like, "Hey, you should post that on Instagram." That's kind of a fun one, and I didn't know that stuff. But the first one was about. The first one I sent you was about, like how we got a bunch of autistic people running our social lives.
Yeah, the spectrum. The spectrum. You were talking about how Elon Musk is on the spectrum.
I heard some comedian the other day doing this bit about how, man, we let Mark Zuckerberg, like this antisocial guy, he's autistic. His idea of social interaction is not interacting. And he created this perfect world for himself where he doesn't actually have to see people. It's an autistic person's dream. And then I got to thinking, I was like, well, I mean, Elon Musk, he's admittedly on the spectrum. He has Asperger's. The one that blows me away, though, is Steve Jobs. Because most people would...
You like went in deep to this. I actually was sitting there like I watched the entire video.
Steve Jobs was definitely on the spectrum. And a lot of people would be like, no, he wasn't a weird guy at all. The dude wore the same clothes every day. Every day wore the same clothes, which, first of all, is psychotic. But second of all, the reason that they gave us, and we all were like, oh, yeah, that's brilliant. It was like, well, no. See, he streamlines his day. He eliminates a decision. And he makes his day so much faster because he doesn't have to stand there and think about what he's wearing. How much time was Steve Jobs standing in his closet? How long was that dude standing there going, white or blue? White or blue? Oh, shoot, white or blue? White or blue? I don't know what to do. I could just run a multi-billion-dollar company if I knew how to dress. That's autistic or psychotic. It's something. It's somewhere on a spectrum of not normal. And we all just heard it and we're like, yeah, I'm going to start doing that. I'm just going to buy 17 of the same clothes that look the same every day because Steve Jobs did it. The dude was not normal.
Brilliant.
All these guys, brilliant. Elon Musk, not normal.
Mark Zuckerberg, not normal.
I don't know why. And then you got the national debt one, which, yeah, I've been watching the news a lot lately, and I was like, man, I wonder, like, it's got to be China. Got to be China and Japan we owe all this money to, right? $34 trillion is our national debt. You drive down by the airport, you drive by the big billboard that's ticking, reminds everybody how much money we owe people. Who do we owe it to?
You.
Not me. But U.S. citizens. It's crazy when you really start to look at it. It's crazy. We're going broke. Oh, crap, man. Well, what's going to happen when the debtors call on the card? Well, they can't. Huh? Well, we owe $2 trillion to China and Japan. We owe like 1.2 trillion to to Japan and 800 million or 800 billion to China. So about 2 trillion. The other 32 trillion basically breaks down where that 22 trillion of it is owed to us, just American citizens. Wait a minute. I thought we were the ones going broke. Yeah, we are. So we borrow money from us? Yes. And we charge us interest? Indeed. But we can't pay us back? Correct.
You went down a rabbit hole. Those rabbit holes are scary.
So we keep borrowing money from us? Yes, indeed. Yeah, you're onto it. Here you go. Here you go. You're getting there. Well, who approves these loans? Your representatives. Why do they approve loans if we're broke? Because the people that are paying them are asking them to do it. Huh? Yeah. See how your politician, he goes to Washington with a $100,000 salary, and then he comes home a multimillionaire. And the reason he does that is not selling books, it's by selling his votes. He goes to the banking industry and he says, hey, I'd like to put regulations on that make sense so that we aren't borrowing money from us. And the banking industry says, how much you need? What do you need to change your mind there? Because we got lobbyists. We got lobbyists. They'll be in your office every day, baby. You want to never pay for a lunch again.
Ross, it's not that simple.
You want another house, Bernie? You want another house, Bernie? Well, here. How much? You said you got ethics and morals. How much is that worth?
I need more videos from Ross Peterson. You
almost got an Elvis one yesterday. I'll tell you.
Really? Almost got an Elvis one?
You almost got an Elvis one.
So let me put this in perspective. Ross is driving around Des Moines. He's selling houses. He's got the little phone thing on his dashboard. He goes, I'm just going to hit record. I have random thoughts with Ross Peterson. And he starts with, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. Then he goes to the national debt. And then Elvis pops into your brain?
Elvis was the third one you were about to get.
What was it going to be about Elvis?
Well, I heard this is going to be weird. Everybody buckle up. I was in a coffee shop and a Counting Crows song was on. And the song says, she said she'd like to meet a boy that looks like Elvis.
Yeah.
Right?
Good looking dude.
Okay. Weird dude. So I started doing this Elvis impression in my head where I was like, hey, you want to date a guy with some serious mama issues? You want to date a guy who's going to do some womanizing? Hey, how about you want to date a karate guy who thinks he's a karate expert and a shaman? Want to date a guy with a serious heroin addiction? Is that what you want? I'm right here, baby. I'll womanize your grandma. I'm right in front of you. I didn't write any of these songs either. I'm just a real fancy performer.
Man.
Elvis is the most overrated artist of all time. All time.
See, now we have to. This is one of those discussions where we have to decide what an artist is, right?
Okay,
I guess because you use the word performer and then you use an artist.
Yeah, good point.
I think they're two different things. I think you have a performer who just takes the songs, sings them, and can put on a really good show. And sure, there's some artistic stuff when it comes to performing, but the true artists are the people who write the songs, right?
Agreed.
I mean,
musicians.
So, yes.
I was never an Elvis fan. He always seemed so weird and creepy. And then the karate stuff, like he'd get up there and he'd start doing this, and people would, woo! It's weird, man.
See, I grew up an Elvis fan because my mom was an Elvis fan, right? So,
and I think this is what, again, it's a lot like this. If a lot of people are that way, they're like, oh, we love Elvis. Why? Because my dad did. Okay. All right.
See, my mom, who has all this Elvis paraphernalia, right? She's got whiskey bottles, she's got music boxes, and she's like, hey, do you want this stuff? Owen wants it because Owen grew up an Elvis fan because his grandma was an Elvis fan.
Yeah.
So that was an influence, right? And so Yeah, I would say probably most of your musical influences come from your parents, especially your early ones. Like Anjanette was never an Elvis fan. She grew up a Beatles fan because her mom and dad are like 6 years younger than my mom, and they were Beatles people. So my wife's like, I don't get the Elvis thing. I get the Beatles thing. I grew up an Elvis fan. My mom saw Elvis in 1976, still has the ticket stub. I've been to Graceland. I went there on the 10th anniversary of his death. Graceland's a pretty cool place to see.
I would. I mean, I about said I would go to Graceland. I probably wouldn't.
Well, it's getting to be like the cost of Adventureland now. It's like $50 to get in. It's not cheap. And no, it's pretty cool because you see, all the gold records and all that stuff. But you do go through Graceland going, "Oh, you're a weird dude." You go down to the jungle room.
Do you ever go out in the jungle room and go, "So is this where you sexually assaulted the minors? That happened here, or is that another room?"
Oh man,
overrated artists. Yeah, yeah, and again, just an overall weird guy.
Again, art is in the eye of the beholder and the listener.
How did we let that dude get away with the karate thing? How did people let him go up there and karate chop the air, and they were like, "Oh." That should have been the moment everybody was like, "Did he just sidekick?"
I think you let him get away with it, much like we let people get away with weird stuff today, right? If you're uber famous and you do something weird, people go, "Oh, okay." It's not until you go off your rocker when you go, "Oh, that was a little weird."
Yeah, but Lady Gaga wears the meat suit, and I think that most of society goes, "That's weird. That's weird."
I don't know if Lady Gaga did it today, would they think it was weird? Because she wasn't as popular.
Look at when Will
then.
Smith's kid wore the house on his head. Remember that the other day?
I don't.
You didn't see this, Trav?
I didn't see that.
Oh, dude. Oh, dude. Google Will Smith's. I can't even think of what his name is. But Will Smith's kid at the latest. Remember the one where Kanye's wife wore nothing?
Yes. That would have been the Grammys.
The Grammys?
Yeah.
Will Smith's kid showed up wearing a house on his head. I can't describe it any other way. It was it was like they took a cardboard box. It's this big, Travis. It's 3 feet wide. And it goes about a foot off of his shoulders. And his face sticks out the front door.
So it's like one of those things you like when you're on vacation, you get behind and you take a picture of it, make it look like you're in a different place.
I don't know. No. I have to. I'll find it for you. I'll find it for you and send it to you. I don't know how else to describe it. They took a cardboard box, made it look like a mansion, and then put it over his head, and there's a little opening for his face, and that's what he wore to the Grammys.
How'd you like to sit behind that guy?
Charlie wrote in Jaden.
How'd you like to sit behind that guy in the crowd?
Yeah.
Really? You got a house on your head?
Somebody wrote in earlier, U2, most overrated band of all time. I'd agree with that. Most overrated band. Somebody said the Beatles, which I do think that there's a case to be made. They're the highest rated band of all time. Most people would say they're the greatest band of all time. That makes them easy to be overrated. I think that they were a benefit of a lot of stuff. The timing of when they came out.
I think what we're learning here with Ross is this. Don't become uber popular because he'll start scratching the surface to find your
I'm
flaws.
the tear him down guy.
You are the tear him down guy.
I've told you guys forever, society does this, that my role is tear him down. You guys build up the pedestals and I sharpen the axe. It's awful. I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be axe guy. I want to be build up guy.
Where'd you get that from? Did you get it from your mom, your dad, or is it just you?
Dude, I think it's just the contrarian thing in me. I think that more than anything. I hear so many people go, "Oh, I love Elvis. I love Elvis." My brain goes, "I'm going to find a way not to like this guy."
Have you found a way not to like Taylor Swift yet?
I need to be different. I mean, that's
low-hanging fruit.
Kinda. I don't hate Taylor. I don't not like Taylor Swift for any reason. I mean, because she didn't endorse the political candidate that I would have endorsed, I don't give a shit about that. She's dating a football player. Good for her. I don't hate on Taylor Swift. Her music's not designed for a 46-year-old guy in Iowa.
That's true. It's designed for a 35-year-old girl in Iowa.
I don't know about that either, but
well, that's about the age group, right? I mean, that's she has a major influence.
You were much more complimentary. I would have said like late teens, early 20s is kind of her. She's going for that heartbroken young lady. Again, that's offensive, and that's offensive just to say that she's an artist. She's trying to sell music and doing a damn good job of it, by the way.
Very
Lady Gaga.
good job. Yes.
So did Elvis. Elvis did all right for himself.
I mean, there's a couple things that people will never agree on. Music will be one of them, and probably food, right? In that, it's the greatest restaurant in the world. Well, to you, but what if I don't like that type of food? Or what if I just don't find it that appealing?
Yeah.
Same with music. Oh, you got to hear the song. You're like, okay. Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean it's just okay? It's the best song ever written. Okay.
Music is absolutely that way. Food, I feel like if somebody says, man, this is fantastic, for the most part, you're going to take it and go, oh, that was really good. Thank you for that. Music is one, man, we've all been in that situation where one of our friends has been like, dude, I've heard this song. It's the greatest song I've ever heard. You got to listen to this. And they pump it in and it's Chumbawamba or something like that. And you're like, what the? You like this? Or the first time you heard like Slipknot, your buddy was like, holy cow, man, this music speaks to me. And they turn on.
Yeah, I don't get the Slipknot thing. I've never gotten the Slipknot thing.
Whoa, that's intense.
515-517-2303. Let's go to the phones. That's where Tony is. Tony, welcome to the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. What's going on, buddy?
I think Ross Peterson likes to tear everybody down because he's the youngest sibling, and that's just in their nature.
Okay, I'm the youngest sibling. I'm not.
Tony might be onto something here.
Ooh, are you a terror downer?
Am I a terror downer, Ross? I don't think I'm a terror downer. Maybe just not with as much vitriol as
sometimes
Ross
a little
has.
bit cynical, but yeah, not quite. Oh, Tony, that's a good one.
But between you two, who's the older one?
Oh, I am by a long way.
By several decades, I think. It's
okay,
been a long time
so
since we've
maybe
done the
in
math.
your relationship with Ross, you get to play that older, wiser mentor role, and Ross is that youngest sibling once again, Mr. Terror Downer.
I was the guy. This won't surprise you at all, Tony. I was the younger brother that would tell my brother I was done fighting and then attack him when he turned around.
Yeah, I bet. You set traps.
Yeah,
traps.
lay on my back and then try to kick him with my heel as he got close enough.
All right, Tony, where do you fall in your family dynamic? Are you the oldest, the middle, or the youngest?
I'm the oldest of three boys.
He picked up on it right away. He knew.
That means I haven't been wrong about anything since 1979.
It's a good way to look at it.
Older brothers are the best. I haven't been wrong about anything. That's the glory of being born first.
Me and my idol Chet from Weird Science.
See? I like it.
What a great character. When Chet knocks the dude on the forehead with the shotgun.
What about when he gets turned into poop and he's still trying to be hardcore?
Oh, the rabbit holes we go down.
Thanks,
all right, Tony. Thanks. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, great job on the podcast, y'all. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Buddy.
Man.
Like Chet from Weird Science.
That was what Bill
character.
Paxton, right?
It was Bill Paxton. And again, not to tear down things that people love, that's his best role.
You didn't like him in Titanic?
I forgot he's the ship captain in Titanic, isn't he?
You didn't like him in Twister?
Never saw Twister.
You never saw it? That was filmed in like Ames, dude. How do you not see a movie that was filmed in your state?
too close to the trauma, man. And I never watched the that movie about the 2004 Red Sox with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore. Never watched that one either. It hurts too much. I'm not doing it. I lived it.
What was the name of that movie?
I don't remember. I don't know. Never will see it.
Traumatized.
He's been in. I felt like Bill Paxton was just in some. What was the other? He was in another one that was like around the time of Twister. But Chet was his best character.
God, it's hard to believe he's dead too. I mean, Bill Paxton died several years ago. Forget what he died from, but he's dead. He died pretty young. Yeah, if you said Bill Paxton to me, I'd probably say you would come off with Chet. I probably would come off with Titanic or Twister. But he's probably got a lot more iconic films than we'd ever know.
Oh,
by the way,
Bill Blank just nailed it. Thank you, Bill. That was it. He was the dude in True Lies. He's the guy that puts Jamie Lee Curtis in the convertible, figures out the window thing, and her hair starts to blow back, and then in the next scene,
as your phone blows up,
her ankles are pinned against the headboard.
He was also in Apollo 13.
Yep.
In Fever Pitch. And
he was in Fever. No.
No. That's the Jimmy Fallon, Drew Barrymore
Thank
movie.
you.
The stuff we learn just by starting a show with Ross randomly doing videos in his car. So now your challenge is to just do a video every
day.
Ross.
To tell you what's on my.
Yes. Here's what's on my ramblings with Ross from the car. Just put them on the Rush page. Put them on your page. You have access to those as you're driving around. Hey, here's what I'm thinking today, folks. What will today be?
Let's see what you. I wonder what. Who knows what you get today? I don't know where my brain's going to go.
And the thing was, you weren't even that feisty yesterday. You had like this inquisitive mind.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it wasn't feisty at all. I genuinely yesterday. We got done with the show, and I read something or saw something about the national debt, and that clicked a thing of like, man, who do we owe that money to? I used to know this stuff. I used to pay attention and be glued in, and felt like I was at least somewhat knowledgeable about things. I was like, man, who do we owe this money to? And I did some Googling and used some AI tools. You know what I mean? Just people that might know, machines that might know, and they all said the same thing. 2/3 of it, us.
Yeah, I saw one the other day. Like every citizen is like technically $172,000 in debt.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I'll never be able to pay it back.
Most of us can't. Most of us, that's absurd.
Unless I got to do it on a 5-year arm.
Yeah,
using some mortgage lingo for you. I'll call Gary Presnell and say, "Hey, Gary, can you help me out with my?"
Press, I'm in trouble.
I'm in trouble.
What'd you do? Government needs
Well,
$170,000.
I need to pay back.
Well, the good news is the government's in the business of loaning money, so just borrow it from the government and then pay back the government. That's what they do to us.
Unless it's for college. Got the FAFSA filed. Got my loan for Greta to go to SCAD. Not very big, so. I turn to other people like SoFi and Sally Mae. They're my best friends.
That's enough. That if you want to rant, let's talk about the price of college, the price of higher education, and then the value of that higher education, and why it's important for presidents and chancellors and professors and all these people to make more money every year to go to a state university. To go to a state-funded, to go to a university with a state's name on it is the right way to say it now. Is ridiculous. It's ridiculous what you're paying these people to walk out of there with no more brains than you had when you walked in, as they say in The Wizard of Oz.
If I only had a brain.
You walk out of there with no more brains than you walked in with. But, man, you paid them a lot of money to put that paper on the wall. And, again, lots of people learn a lot of wonderful things and a lot of jobs. You have to have that education. You have to have college. There's a lot of times it's really important. If everybody can't agree that it's overpriced, that it's a money grab on a lot of levels. I mean, for decades, we've joked about the book thing. All the information is digitized. All of it. It's available on this.
I think
right
more
here.
people learn on YouTube now.
Right here. You could have all of your books right there, and they go
Right
for generation. That ain't the way it works.
515-517-2303. We got a busy day today. Coming up in about an hour, John Higgins is going to be joining us. We talked a lot about college basketball officiating yesterday. We're going to ask him if the call against Northern Iowa was the worst call he's seen in the last 19 years. I think I know what his answer is because I talked to him about it yesterday. So we'll get the lowdown on as the postseason comes upon us in college basketball. And lots more. It's the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive at therushradio.com.
Doug Burgess, Service Manager here at Willis Infinity. As we move into 2025, I want to say one final thank you for what 2024 has brought to us. Getting the opportunity to meet many of your customers, and for you, voting us the #1 Google-ranked dealership in the Midwest. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And to know why, and to have that Willis experience yourself, stop on in or go online to make your appointment at willisinfinity.com.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm John Linares, Sales Manager at Willis Lexus, and this month we're going to help you find your perfect match. Stop out and see us. We've got great inventory of NX and NX Hybrid, TX, and ES. We have more inventory arriving daily, and this month Lexus has also brought back the very popular 42-month lease. Stop out and see us or visit us online at willislexus.com.
Not too many places hit all the right notes. But when it comes to great atmosphere and delicious scratch-made food, Truman's is the name to know. Game days are for Chiefs fans, but every day is for the food fans. Truman's, get to know us by name.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
You can listen to the Rush Radio Show all day long at therushradio.com. Just click that Listen Live link, or you can find the podcast there. Find the podcast replay of the show wherever you download your podcast. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson in his sharp-looking Iowa Hawkeyes hoodie. I like that. That's good looking, man. You look good today.
Thank you.
Are you wearing it?
Audrey got this one for me, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, what a nice kid to buy you clothes. Are you wearing it because Liddell Betts has left the Iowa program to go be the running backs coach for the New York Giants?
Had not done it in thinking of that. No, that wasn't going through my head. You know why I wore it? Because it was there.
It was there. You mean you weren't like Steve Jobs and got inside your closet and said, "Okay, this is what I got to wear"?
Nope. I got out of the shower and I still kind of had my eyes closed, and I grabbed on the hoodie rack, and this was the one that came off.
You know, when we talk about college football programs, the head coach gets all the accolades because he's the captain, he's the voice, he's the face, and Kirk Ferentz has been that for a long time. But if you look at the most successful college football programs, they're ones that have a lot of continuity, a lot of consistency, and the assistant coaches are rock solid, and usually you have a staff that's been there a while. Liddell Betts leaving Iowa, I think is a pretty big hit, Ross. The running back core the last several years has been really good. Caleb Johnson credited Liddell Betts for a big reason of why he developed as a running back, got to be as good as he was. LeSean Williams credited Liddell Betts. I think this is a significant loss for Kirk Ferentz.
Travis, always hard to know from the surface what, from our vantage point as a fan, what impact these coaches are having. You almost because the players are usually going to say these types of things, but I think you've got to dive a couple of layers deeper. And when you look at the production that you've gotten out of that running back room these last couple of years, we've bagged on Kirk Ferentz for not developing quarterbacks. The quarterbacks aren't better when they leave than they were when they showed up. How's that possible? Man, you can't say that about those running backs.
No, especially the last 5 years. I mean, you remember when you and I started Sound Off, it was like running back by committee. You're like, are we going to have a 1,000-yard rusher? There wasn't much depth at running back. Liddell Betts comes in, and all of a sudden, you've got good depth. You've got solid players. You've got NFL caliber type players.
Yeah. Next guy in, man. You've got dudes on dudes because you got Moulton, who is going to be the starter, and Johnson, who is going to be the backup, and then he ends up being a Heisman dude. You got to give some credit there that he's bringing in really good talent. He's developing the talent. They're performing on game day. They love him. All of that says, good for Liddell Betts. I try not to pay attention too much to like the coaching circles and but when I did, it always did. I feel like that was kind of the thought around Liddell Betts was he was headed back to the NFL at some point.
And also, if you want to be, you kind of look at the jockeying that takes place, right? I mean, the Iowa job's going to be open in a couple of years. Not saying that Liddell Betts would get it, but what do you want to be as a coach? I think most guys want to be a head coach someday. Not all want to be a head coach, but some want to be a head coach. And the way college football is changing now, going to an NFL model, should we say, when it comes to pay and a lot of things, it's probably not a bad thing to go, you know what, I'm going to go get some experience in the National Football League. Gives me more credibility if I want to step back into the college game. I'm well established. And it's probably good just to get a completely different look at systems, style, management, instead of just being kind of stuck in a bubble. Or the other thing is, Kirk Ferentz is going to leave in a couple of years, and you may not be on the plans to be on that staff if you bring in somebody new. That's probably a bigger thing right?
What I thought you were going to say was maybe Kirk Ferentz says, hey, I got a couple years left. Maybe go get some NFL experience. See if that sharpens your resume a little bit.
Well, it's probably no secret where he got recruited from because James and Steve Ferentz are on the Giants staff, so they probably went in
again,
to.
That says something about Liddell Betts. That says something about his character, that his boss's family is going into their place of employment and saying, hey, there's this dude. He's really good. Really fun to work with. Good to be around. Not a bad culture guy at any stretch.
But we talked about it yesterday. It's who you know. So you have the connection there. Steve and James Ferentz work for the Giants. They go, hey, your running backs coach just left for the Saints. We've got one over in Iowa City that's pretty darn good. Played in the NFL for 9 years. Produced some really good running backs over the last several years at Iowa. You may want to look at him.
Casey points out a funny little irony. Liddell Betts will now be the position coach for Tyrone Tracy for the first time. Because Tyrone Tracy was a wide receiver when he was at Iowa, went to Purdue, and then the New York Giants, and is an NFL running back. That's how good that running back room was.
And Tyrone Tracy was a pretty good wide receiver.
Darn right, yeah.
So, yeah, a big loss, I think, for the Iowa program, but good for Liddell Betts. And Iowa's still sitting pretty good with Kamari Moulton and Jazz Patterson at running back. You do feel sorry for those guys, though, because position players develop the relationship with their position coaches, and that's where the relationship is.
Yep.
Not that they don't have a relationship with the head coach; they do, but it's just not as prevalent or prominent as it is with their position coach.
Yeah, not as everyday. Trav, that took me a while of covering sports to realize that was the case, that the position coaches, the head coach knows these guys. He doesn't know them like the position coach is in the room with them every day.
The Big Ten and the SEC are going to have a big powwow today with the rest of college football, and they're going to present their plan for the 2025 college football playoff. They need unanimity here, so it's got to be a unanimous vote. We talked about it a little bit last week. The problem the Big Ten and the SEC have done, they've worked in a vacuum. They've worked in basically a bubble of their own, coming up with what they want to present and not engaging the other leagues. Now, in 2026, it's going to be a little bit different because the SEC and the Big Ten have a lot more power. Unanimous votes aren't needed, but right now they need a unanimous vote from everybody. They want to walk in today and say, hey, we want to get rid of the first-round buys for the highest-ranked college conference champions and go to a straight seeding, which would be 1 through 12. Or you could go through 1 through 14 if they want to add 2 more teams. Again, I understand why some of these smaller conferences may not be on board with it, but from a fan user experience, and I know the fans, take a back seat a lot, that makes more sense. Just to go, okay, your college football playoff poll, which is decided by a committee, does the rankings, your seedings are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's that simple. Boom. How can you not agree on that?
If you're the little guys, it's hard. But you don't got a lot of bargaining power here, man.
Zero bargaining power.
Is it zero?
Well, your bargaining power is you need my vote.
Yeah, right.
Right? I mean, that's the bar. It's like the holdout. You in politics, you always like, well, this senator's holding out or this congressman's holding out. So there's going to be politics in this room, right? You're going to present your plan. You're going to then pull guys aside and say, hey, here's what we're thinking. And then there's going to be a negotiation with some guarantees. But the guarantee's only for 1 year.
It's amazing to me that that's the shocking part of this conversation, Travis. We're talking about this fall.
Yes. Not 2 years down the line, not 3 years down the line. We're talking about this fall.
All right, so is it inevitable that it happens? It feels like it's inevitable.
I think it's inevitable. I mean, if it doesn't happen this year, it's probably going to happen next year.
Man.
Because under the new agreement, the Big Ten and the SEC are going to have a lot more power. It's shared power now. They're still the big boys.
It's so short-sighted, Travis. It's so short-sighted.
Explain your short-sightedness here.
Okay, all right. We love the NFL. We love the Bears and the Packers and the Vikings and the Lions, right? And the Chiefs. Why don't we care about the Battlehawks? Because the Battlehawks don't play against the teams that we care about. It's a different league. It's a different league. It's not the same talent level. It's a different league. And that Battlehawks team isn't in the league that the team that I care about is in. So I'm never going to care about the Battlehawks.
Truth to that.
That's what's going to happen with college football. Now, Iowa State fans, are they going to watch the Iron Bowl? Yeah. It's the best college football game of the weekend. They'll flip their TVs to CBS. Are they going to be engaged in SEC and Big Ten football? Hell no. It's not our league. We don't play those guys anymore. We don't play them anymore. It's so short-sighted to say, yep, we got all this power right now, boys. We got all the eyeballs and we got all the power, and now we're going to manipulate that, okay? Well, you're not going to have all the eyeballs. They think that because they're the SEC and the Big Ten, that people are just going to, hey, man, we got the biggest games. We got the best brands. You don't want to watch Texas? You don't want to watch Alabama? No, I don't want to watch the Battlehawks. I don't watch teams that the Hawkeyes aren't potentially going to be playing against or that I know aren't in the same level. I don't watch D2 football. Why don't I watch D2 football? Because they're never going to play the Hawkeyes. That, by cutting out these other schools, it is short-sighted. Now, it might not be 10 years where we hit the tipping point, but it's going to.
And you and I are different when it comes to this. It's not that I prefer the Big 12 and the Big 10 just because of Iowa State, Iowa, Nebraska for me. But I will, if there's a huge game on that doesn't affect either one, and Iowa or Iowa State doesn't play them, I'm still pretty glued into it just because you understand the significance of it, right? If it's a number one against number two or top 10 matchup, I'm pretty interested in that game.
Me too, Trav, but I think that it's because it's in the league. It's because you're watching the teams that you know you can or will or someday compete against.
Well, but I'll watch an LSU Alabama just because of the showdown. Not say, but I like watching those games because I'm not emotionally attached to it. Right? You're like, okay, I'm just going to sit back and watch. I'm just going to sit back and watch good football.
Yeah,
I don't care who wins.
And again, I think people will do that, but I do think the interest will wane. Travis, look at what happened with the college football playoff this year, the first year. We get to the national championship. Nobody cared. Nobody cared anymore. We were done. Our teams haven't played. Our bowl games are done. The season's over. Season's over.
Did we not care because it went so damn long? We're like, oh man, if you could have got this done earlier.
Again, a soup. There's a couple things in there. It went so long. Your team's no longer relevant or in it, and I think that's the point that's the part of the conversation that I'm trying to core down on for this long conversation. When your team isn't involved in the competition anymore, you lose interest quickly. Doesn't happen right away. Doesn't happen overnight. It's not like my team loses on Saturday, I'm not watching Sunday. But my team loses Saturday, 3 weeks from now, I'm making plans. I've had my party. You know what I'm saying? Like we've done all the things. This season's over. And that sort of mentality is what's going to be extrapolated out onto all of us in this specific case, I think we're talking about Iowa State fans who are going to love Iowa State. They're going to love the games that Iowa State is playing. And when Iowa comes to town, that one game, if we're able to hold on to that game's going to matter. And that'll mean something. I'm telling you, the Cyclone fans are going to go out of their way to watch a college football national championship that their team has no chance in playing in. There will be some because it's great football. But their team, the reason that they love college football is not because of college football, it's because of the colors. It's because of this thing.
Isn't every sport like that?
Yes. Yeah, that's why it's so hard to change your favorite team. That's why it's so hard to be like, well, you know what? Cubs suck. Because it's bigger than that. And same thing, no Hawkeye fan or Cyclone fan is going to be able to, like, let's say this meeting comes back and they come back and say, you know what? We couldn't get a unanimous vote, so we're just splitting ways now. Because that's one of the things I was getting at. If it's inevitable, if you are one of the small boys, why vote for this? Why continue to give bullets to the gun that's going to kill you?
If you're the Sun Belt, if you're Conference USA, why do you even want to be a part of it?
That's what I'm saying. And so they have to go through this charade of bringing you there and voting for what they want to do. What if one of those guys is a Ross Peterson and he walks in and goes, you know what? I'm in my mood today. Contrarian. No. I vote no. Well, we need a unanimous vote. Cool. Y'all vote no with me? What happens if that goes down?
I think this year they're contractually obligated
to stick with where they are.
To stick with it. It'll be 2026 when things start to change, which I'm actually for maybe a more NFL model when it comes to this, and that is you take the ACC, you take the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC, and you just say, go play your game, right? You have so much more money than everybody else. The NIL is a lot bigger. Just form another division. You have like the Super Division, the next division, and then FCS. I'm okay with that. I think it would help a lot of these smaller institutions out, these smaller leagues, just to be able to compete. But they want to but they also understand, even if they can't compete, getting a small piece of the big pie is much better than having the entire pie of their own.
The pie is this big.
Yes. Because the money is that big.
And again, Trav, and there we go. If your end game is money, then absolutely. It's an easy answer. If your end game is money, how do we make the most possible money as an institution? It's an easy path. The math is there right in front of you. What if your priorities are different? What if your priorities are different? What if a president of an institution stands up and says, "Hey, you're my employee. This is an institution of higher learning, right? We're not a sports facility. This is an academic institution. We want people to come here not so that they can get money. Well, we don't want coaches that are here just to get paid. We want coaches that want to be a part of a culture, that want to win, that want to make memories, that want to turn young people into great men and great women. That's what our goal is here, and that's what an institution of higher learning is going to do. We're going to take the money that comes in from your little academic endeavor that we created. We started this athletic department. You guys started to make a bunch of money, and now we're going to it's going to reciprocate back into the institution of higher learning. But that sounds insane.
But sports is like a drug.
That sounds insane. People would laugh you out of the.
But hear me out, and that is sports is like a drug to even university presidents because they understand the value of brand recognition. Like when Northern Iowa pulled off the big upset in the NCAA tournament a couple years ago. Their applications went up tremendously because people, I'm sure when Drake plays well, when Creighton plays well.
At the NAIA level, when Grandview created a football team and had a national powerhouse wrestling team, enrollment went up.
Yes.
At NAIA schools. Travis, that's the benefit that the president sees in the athletic department, right? That you're helping the institution in this other way.
And they're two different, though. Let's use Northern Iowa and Drake as an example. You go win a couple games in the NCAA tournament. You're on TV. People talk about it. People go, oh, this school. This might be a place that I want to go to school. You're getting regular students. At the NAIA level, sports is there to really drive enrollment. You're providing opportunity. So but it all comes back to money, and that's it. And again, that's the easiest thing. It's the easiest thing. The math is right in front of you. There's no feeling about it. It's hard, fast numbers. See, check it out. See the red line? See the black line? We want to be that. This is easy. We don't want to be $34 trillion in debt.
Exactly. And you can help with the $34 trillion in debt. Boom. Let's go. Let's do that. Tyler's wrote in the chat, Drake literally sent out a text saying, donate $25 for Drake's 25th win on Sunday after they beat you and I.
It's not a bad NIL strategy.
I mean, dude, at this point, I think every one of us has to be used to the, please more, sir. Please more, sir. Your team just won its bowl game. Oh, we should all donate money as celebration. And if we all donate money, some millionaire said he'll match our money, guys.
I mean, this is how desperate people are getting to raising money for their NILs. Adrian Wojnarowski, you know him, the former
Woj,
NBA.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Woj. He left journalism to become the GM for St. Bonaventure. So he's now the general manager of St. Bonaventure, and they are falling behind in the NIL space. So Woj, to help raise money, is now put on the auction block all his cell phones. He would get a new cell phone every single year. So he's like, this is the cell phone that I reported this trade on, that I broke the story on. And now he's auctioning off his cell phones. He's auctioning off his media passes to the NBA Finals, the NBA All-Star Game, in hopes of using that revenue to put towards the NIL. I don't know if there's any value in that or not. Somebody will find value.
Somebody will, and good on him, because it's just junk laying around for
That's
him.
all it is.
You and I both know that. Like,
That's all it is.
Shoebox. So yeah, this can help my job. Make my job easier if I sell some of the crap that I've accumulated over the years. Old cell phones. Come on.
The reports are that he got a new cell phone every year. The money isn't that Woj used the cell phone. The iPhone 1 may be like an actual collector's item. It's like, hey, Woj has a cell. I don't care. That's an iPhone 1. That's like an antique. I get to keep that.
Have you ever seen the documentary, the Breaking Wall? Is that what it's called? Darn it! I'm gonna screw this up. It's about the wall of sound that Phil Spector had out in L.A. that made all of those great songs in the 60s and 70s. So like when the Beach Boys were out traveling, they didn't have time to come back to the studio and make music and make albums. So studio musicians would actually record the album, and then Brian Wilson would fly in and sing over the top of it, and they'd release it as a Beach Boys album. None of the Beach Boys actually played on the album. And they did this with dozens. Like most of the songs that you know from the 70s and 80s were written and performed by the exact same group of people. Okay?
Wasn't it called like Session Players or something
Wrecking
like that?
Crew. Thank you, Todd Scott. Thank you. The Wrecking Crew. Fantastic documentary. Here's what I'm getting at. The lady who wrote and played the bass line to the Sonny and Cher song, The Beat Goes On. Doom, 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 doom,
the beat goes on.
Doom, doom, that.
Yeah.
She sold the pick that she played that with the very first time about 400 times.
Because it's a pick. You don't
It's a
know.
pick. Every place she went, people would be like, oh, you're the lady that wrote the song. And she'd go, yeah, matter of fact, this is the pick that I played that with. No way. Yeah. You want it? You could have it for $500. You can have the pick that I played that with. Here's my money.
Can I get that authenticated? Well, It came out of my hands,
She
gave it to
walked
you out of my
into the next
pocket.
room and go, "You're not going to believe what's in my pocket. That's that pick." So that's my point on Woj. Woj went to an old Radio Shack dumpster, pulled out a bunch of phones, and now he's hawking them out there. This was my 1997 phone. This is how I found out Grant Scott was being drafted.
Oh, desperate, but it shows you the need for money, what people will do for money, and I mean, I don't know how many iterations of iPhones are there. Right, I'm a Google
I have
Pixel
no
guy.
idea.
Are
I
we
have
on
no
like
idea.
iPhone 16?
Sure.
So he's
I
got
think
like
there's
16
even some that,
phones.
There's even some that have letters on them. You know what I mean? So there's more than that. I don't know. A lot. I never thought about that being a thing. There's people out there that collect the old cell phone. They just want the hardware of it. They just want the physical thing.
Yes, it's like an antique. Sooner or later, it'll be like if I would have kept one of my brick phones, that would have been awesome. Been able to like turn around and resell that at an antique store.
Did you ever have a car phone?
Like a bag phone? I did.
The one that sat in the in the thing there.
I didn't. Now, when I worked for the TV stations back in the day, you had the bag phone, but I never owned a bag phone. I think like the first phone I ever got, like a Motorola, like flip phone, I thought it was so cool, but it was so big. You had to pull the antenna out. You're like, I'm pulling an antenna out.
And the flip was just like this little tiny piece of plastic. It wasn't even part of the phone, I don't feel like. It just kind of was a protective cover.
515-517-2303. We got an hour in the books. We got an hour to go. John Higgins is going to join us at 7:30. Talk a little college basketball. We'll continue our conversation when we come back on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bobby here at Land Rover Des Moines. Just wanted to say it's February, so I invite you to come in and fall in love with a Land Rover. We've got over 43 of them in stock and 2.9% financing on select vehicles. You'll never find a better time to fall in love with something just like this. So call, click, or visit us at LandRoverDesMoines.com or stop down in the showroom and see one in person. You'll be glad you did.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's $25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Hi, I'm John Linares, sales manager at Willis Lexus, and this month we're going to help you find your perfect match. Stop out and see us. We've got great inventory of NX and NX Hybrid, PX, and ES. We have more inventory arriving daily, and this month Lexus has also brought back the very popular 42-month lease. Stop out and see us or visit us online at willislexus.com.
Largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
It's the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com. If you're watching on YouTube right now, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, leave a comment, and set up those notifications so you know when we go live each and every day, which is at 6 a.m. Follow us on X, like our Facebook page, and also follow us on the Instagram. Did I see, Ross Peterson, you're drinking another Core Power? Were you drinking a Core Power from our good friends over at Atlantic Coca-Cola Bottling Company?
I was drinking the vanilla today. I actually like it. That's the first time I've had the vanilla today. I liked it a lot. Tastes like a vanilla milkshake.
Did you go with the 46 grams of protein or the
42, baby?
42 grams of protein.
Travis, I'm not sure. I'm sure you're aware. I'm elite.
Yes, you are. When it comes to broadcasting elite status, you accomplished elite status very quickly in your life.
So yeah, the 42 grams of protein, and then got to make sure I get to the gym today to put it to use.
You lifting weights? You doing cardio?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, trying to lift weights. Trying.
Yeah.
It's not going well.
Yeah. I look at weights and I go, oh, you look good just sitting there. Why disturb?
You're right where you're supposed to be.
You're right. Yeah.
You were designed to be on the ground. Look at that.
I made Ross laugh before the show started. I sent him an old video of me.
What a way to wake up.
I found the 2009 Gator Bowl special that I did, post-game show, when Nebraska beat Clemson. It was a very young Dabo Swinney in there. And a very young and full head of hair Travis Justice in that show.
It was a good quality production on that show. I mean, that was really good production. You had Zadiska on there with you?
Yeah.
He was in studio, though. They sent you to the game.
Yes. I was in Jacksonville. But you got a good look at the wig I was wearing. And you didn't even know it was a wig.
Dude, I'm so bad at that. I would never know if a person was wearing a wig. You have to tell me. You have to tell me you're wearing a wig. And even when guys have said, yeah, man, I wear a hairpiece. I'm like, no, that's a wig, dude. It's a merkin.
Nothing wrong with a wig. It's a merkin. It's a merkin. The key with my wig, though, is that I still had the receding hairline, right? I didn't have a full frontal hairline. I kept the recession, so it didn't look as fake.
Didn't look fake, again, but as a guy that can never tell, I'm the last one to tell you it looked good because they all look good to me.
Fake.
What?
Oh, yeah. My front teeth, fake. Porcelain veneers.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Fake smile, man. I didn't get braces when I was a kid, so when I hit a point in my TV career, I'm like, boy, maybe I should have straight teeth. Just went ahead and got the porcelain veneers.
Okay. Okay.
That was the vanity. That was the vanity part of my life when I had to get new teeth and new hair. Because I was in my early to mid 30s, and I'm like, I don't want to look this old and bad. I need to look good. And then you get new hair and you get new teeth, and you're like, I still look the same. Oh, I'm ugly. That's why.
Turned out it was more than that.
Yeah, it just wasn't the hair. It just wasn't the teeth. It was genetics.
Yeah.
Wow. Who would have thought?
Does that happen when you change your glasses? I go through, whenever I change my glasses, Trav, I have a week where I'm like, that was it. That was
good.
It was the glasses. I've changed my glasses. Now I look great. And then after about a month, I'm like, oh, there he is.
I'm due for a new pair of glasses. I like what I'm wearing right now, so I don't want to go get a new pair. So, but you're right. There's something about a new set of glasses.
Yeah,
and
you got a new look. You got a new look. You're like, yeah, look at me, new fella, new guy looking back at me in the mirror.
And thank God for my wife, because, I have styles of glasses that I want to wear, but she reminds me every time I put them on, they're like, the glasses have to fit kind of the shape of your face.
Yeah.
Because I would go with little round glasses. And she's like, you have an egg-shaped face. Those don't look good on you. Matter of fact, they looked really bad. You need to go more rectangle, kind of like yours.
You have an egg-shaped face.
It's hard-boiled, man. Look at it.
I got a football head.
Oh, you do? I could punt that. Just give it a good old kick.
You know what I think of when I look at your face? Punt, pass, and kick. That's what I think about. And then I'm telling you, then I wear a hat, and it gets worse.
Yeah, you don't look good in a hat. I look good in a hat. I got that cowboy hat. I look good. I look good in a cowboy hat. Even somebody told me that last night. I saw that cowboy hat. You look good. I said, thanks. But you're not a hat wearer. Maybe it's the style of hat, because that's like a trucker hat, right? You need one of those just floppy hats.
You looked like Indiana bi-curious to me. Look like you and Pat were going to an archaeological dig at the garden.
Yeah, he went with more of a fedora type. I went with a full-blown cowboy hat.
Yeah, and together the two of you looked like a pair.
Thank you. I think that wasn't a compliment, was it? You were not giving me a compliment. See how mean he is? See how passive-aggressively mean Ross is? It's just not right. Just not right. Iowa State's going to be on the road tonight. They're going to be at Oklahoma State. Is this a trap game?
No, because trap game, now define trap game for me, because I think of trap game as you're coming off of a big emotional win.
I'm going to look at it a little differently. I'm looking at, you were shorthanded against Houston. You played really well. You're
Moral
sitting
victory,
in a good,
like we talked about. A lot to take away from that loss. Yep.
You're feeling pretty good about yourself, but you go to a place which is not easy to play on an average team at best, but not horrible. The only losses, Oklahoma State's 10-3 at home this year. Their only losses are to Kansas, Texas Tech, and Arizona at home. By the way, all three of those in the top 10 of the ESPN NET or BPI ratings, whatever you want to call it. And it wasn't Kansas. Houston, Texas Tech, and Arizona. I just look at it and go, you sit there and go, oh, this is a win. There's no way they could lose this. And then you start thinking, well, let's not get ahead of our skis a little bit.
Yeah, I think, Trav, you look at this as a win because it's a team that's below 500.
True.
It's a team that's really struggled in conference. I know that they've done decent at home there, but yeah, this is a win tonight. I see what you're saying, that you could look past this because your last is it right? The next two games are home games against ranked teams.
I believe so.
hold on. I think that they've got 2 more road games. They're at Oklahoma State. Then they play Arizona and BYU at home. BYU's in the again, 2 teams ranked in the 20 to 25. You could be looking past that to look back home. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. I think with the way that this team played over the weekend, I don't think that they're looking past anybody. I think that the road trip that was difficult for them was that Arizona swing. And that woke them up a little bit. I think that got them settled in because they looked like a different team on Saturday against Houston. That was a really good basketball team playing shorthanded against one of the best teams in the country. Yeah, they win.
I don't disagree with it. They win. I'm probably not as optimistic. I just look at this going, boy, Oklahoma State's like won 7 of the last 8 in the series. Not that the past means anything. Gallagher-Iba's not an easy place to play.
Vegas has it 9.5, almost 10-point spread for Iowa State. Yeah, Cyclones win.
Okay. If they don't tomorrow, you're going to be like, that was a trap game.
Well, I'll be the first one. That was a trap game.
Trap game.
Win. You can't win at Oklahoma State.
You know how hard it is to win at Oklahoma State? That's Steve Lutz. He's a hell of a coach, man.
They're looking forward. They got bigger games ahead. Travis, now seriously, if you are still holding on to that idea of climbing up to that 1 seed with a Big 12 win, if you are thinking that even without a Big 12 win, this team's a 2 seed, I think this is the game you win. This is a game that losing this game does hurt your.
Yes,
yeah,
very much so.
Yeah, this is not a team that's going to go play in March.
Travis with the cowboy hat looks like Champ Bailey. Whammy!
Oh, that's not Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey was the defensive back for the Broncos and the Redskins.
Champ was his name in Anchorman, though, right?
Champ. Yeah.
He was with us about 6-7 months ago.
Keckner. That was one of my favorite celebrity interactions. Really, really, really cool guy.
Was he ever an SNL guy?
For a moment.
Like a cast? Was he?
Yeah, I think he was just like maybe a writer for a while or something like that. I think that's what it was.
Iowa's going to be on the road tonight.
Yeah, Champ Kind.
They are at Illinois. Illinois is going to be. Illinois' lost 3 straight. They just got drilled by Duke at Madison Square Garden over the weekend. You're either going to have one of 2 things happens here. You have an Illinois team that has lost all confidence, or you have an Illinois team that is just ticked off and is going to roll tonight. It goes one of 2 ways. And Iowa win or Iowa gets blown out.
I love that. It's going to go one of 2 ways. Iowa will either win or they'll lose. One of those 2 things, guaranteed. So lock it up. I don't know
going out on a limb there, Justice.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect tonight, Trav. I think that Illinois wins this game. They're at home. They're a better team. But we've seen Iowa these last couple of weeks not give up and have that little bit of fight left in them. You're still a 15-win team on the season. Okay, you can't change those stripes. Illinois is not great. Are they better than Iowa?
Well, the thing about Illinois is I think a lot of people think they have the talent to be a Final Four team. They've been sicker than a dog. Remember, Brad Underwood wouldn't even let his team go through the handshake line at Wisconsin because he's like, hey, my guys are sick. I don't want to get your team sick. And he's even said he's never seen a season like this where guys are just laid up. But I look at this going, the one of 2 ways, sure, win or loss. But I think it's either a win or you're going to get blown out because this team is just so needs somebody just
If I made you pick one right now, which you picking?
I'm picking Illinois in a blowout.
I am too. I'd pick Illinois by 10.
Might be more than that. But, yeah, that's the way I'm leaning. So,
What do we need to see? Is there something that there's something we need to see from the Hawkeyes tonight? I don't even know what that is, man. I don't even know what specifics. I mean, Josh Dix hit some big shots. You're going to have
Peyton
to have Sanford go for near 20.
Yeah. We've seen out of Iowa what we're going to see out of Iowa.
Yeah.
It's just, are they
I really
be
like
hot?
Brock Harding. I really do. I just think he's a fun point guard.
Do you like it because he's got a little tood?
Yeah, he got a little, there's just a little bit of, there's something about his pace or rhythm that I was like, yeah, I like this guy. I don't know. It doesn't feel like he goes straight up the court.
Got a little swagger, a little cockiness to him.
Oh, water bug.
I think you like him because he's kind of like the underdog, where I'm not gonna call him polarizing, but you either like him or you hate him. You're like, oh, I don't want that guy on my team.
Yeah, that could be, Trev. I think, he has that. There's definitely familiarity with it. You see a short white kid out there. You're like, oh, hey, I recognize that.
Yeah. You know, we've been talking about coaching a lot this year, especially with Fran McCaffrey. Craig Smith was fired at Utah, so we're talking Big 12 hoops again. Craig Smith, towards the end of his fourth year, is fired by Utah, which took a lot of people by surprise. Some of the people in the know, you know, the Jeff Goodmans and a lot of people like that were like kind of a surprising move here. And you almost wonder, Ross, if they were showing too much improvement, knowing that you were going to make a change anyway. They'd beaten Kansas. They'd beaten Kansas State. They'd beaten BYU. BYU just drubbed KU. So you wonder if you're like, okay, we can't have this team getting any better, or we won't have an excuse to get rid of a coach. We know we want to make a change, but if you wait till the end of the season and they get to that 19, 20 win mark, then what do? Because they're at 15 wins now. But the dude had a fully guaranteed contract, walking away with $5 million.
And we'll find a job.
Yeah.
Because, again, good coach, was doing a decent job. Only, you said this was his fourth or fifth year?
He's in his fourth year.
Year?
Yeah. He was a Nebraska assistant, went to South Dakota, had a lot of success in South Dakota, went to Utah State, went to a couple NCAA tournaments, then went to Utah, and just was not able to replicate the success he'd had at South Dakota and Utah State.
Well, are they doing the right thing? Because it seems to me like Utah.
Well,
because it would seem to me like you've got a guy that is a good coach. Is he winning as fast as you were hoping? Is that the problem?
I think that's the problem, is that they had not been to the NCAA tournament with it. And look what we're talking about. We're talking 4 years here. Not even 4 years. You're cutting loose. 15 wins. Brad McCaffrey.
But Travis, again, I'll say this with as much sarcasm and facetiousness as I can possibly muster. You're talking about a basketball powerhouse over there in Utah, okay? They can't sit around. They're not going to sit around like Iowa and try to rebuild for 20 years. We're talking about Utah, okay? Talking about a recruiting hotbed in Utah. You're talking about a perennial powerhouse, a blue blood. You think they're just going to not go to the tournament for 5 years and sit around?
There's an expectation.
At Utah, there's an expectation to win. At Utah, in 5 years, if you don't win, you get bounced. At Utah, if you're the coach that they want and you don't win in 5 years, they get you out.
You know what may have to do with this? NIL. And hear me out. And that is, start paying attention to BYU football and BYU basketball. Because BYU has one of the most fully funded NILs that you can even imagine. The number one player in the country for basketball is going to BYU next year. You know why? Because they got money.
Okay,
they got
hold on.
A lot of money.
They do. You're right. They also are a Mormon school.
True.
Okay. Now, does every kid that goes to Notre Dame, are they Catholic?
No.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Does every kid that goes to BYU, are they Mormon?
Maybe by the time they leave.
I love it. I love it. That's the right answer, by the way.
It's
the right answer.
Maybe by the time you leave.
Larger percentage of incoming people that are actually part of your religion, Notre Dame or BYU?
BYU.
By a large margin.
Yes.
So I do think that that's part of this to keep in mind. When we're talking about BYU's NIL, it's not quite the same as everybody else's because they have a huge caveat that they have to work through there, and that is, are you Mormon? I mean, it's kind of like getting into Stanford. Like, oh, you were good enough to wrestle at Stanford? No, I was smart enough to wrestle at Stanford.
And that's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and Notre Dame's kind of the same way.
Kind of, but no, let's not pretend like Notre Dame doesn't play fast and loose with those regulations, okay? I mean, they're a Catholic institution in name only. BYU is a Mormon institution. So I think that while they're NIL and they are fully funded and they're going to be able to pay their kids a lot of money, they're going to be able to pay their kids a lot of money.
Now, if you want to win, a non-Mormon will become your kid with the hopes
pretty quick.
Can I tell you about another testament of Jesus Christ?
Have you seen the Watchtower?
No, that's Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, that's Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do the Mormons, they don't go door to door?
Oh no, they go door to door. They're the ones in the white shirts, the name tags.
Yeah.
You know, hello, my name is Elder Price. Have you seen Book of Mormon yet?
Book of Mormon. I've not seen I've only seen the South Park thing.
It's a brilliant play. It really is. One of the funniest plays I've ever been to. Remember, I took Owen and Abigail. They're like 10 years old. They're like, you have your kids at Book of Mormon? They got to learn. They got to know. Their teachers were there like, you brought your kids here? Yeah.
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 Yeah, good luck this week.
Exposing them to the arts, theater. Might inspire them. I think, but you bring up a good point. The Mormon thing is there. Will a kid who's getting paid $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, because they have billionaires that fund this thing. Do you say, I can fake it for 4 years?
I mean, maybe. That's a hard sell.
Yeah. Do I have to wear the magic underwear? Because I really don't want to wear the magic underwear. But I can fake it for 4 years at $4 million. Just out of curiosity.
4 years of soaking? Oh, man, I got to think about this.
Have you ever been to Salt Lake City?
No.
I have.
That didn't sound good. That was not. Oh, I have.
Yeah, no, I have.
That was I had to.
No, well, Steve Ditmore, who was on a couple of weeks ago, who wrote the Dodger book, right? He was working for the Salt Lake Olympic Committee, and I'd just gotten married. We took Owen and Abigail out there. They were little kids, and we went to stay with them and toured Salt Lake City, and I didn't feel that welcome.
What was it about it? What made you not feel welcome? I thought
that I wasn't Mormon.
Did they ask you that, or did they just see it on you?
Well, because I think, when I go to Italy and stuff, I go to all the churches. I'm like, well, we should go see the temple. Well, you're getting recruited as soon as you step on the step.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Kool-Aid just kicked out of the Mormon church.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People getting married in the middle of the week. They look like they're 14 years old. You're like, you're a little young. No, going to start the family. You want to read a different testament? No, I'm good.
You're a little young. Not for a fourth bride.
Oh, man. Brian says, grew up in Oklahoma. Militant religious factions there shaped my view of religion.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I saw Stephanie put on there that she did the pot sandwich thing on her frozen shrimp yesterday, and it worked like a charm.
Look at that. Ross is just spilling knowledge all over the place, helping people out so they can thaw their meat faster. Don't use a microwave and, nuke it.
I'm not a fan of that.
Use 2 pots or 2 pans.
Then one of my buddies yesterday was like, man, just fill your sink with cold water, put the meat inside of a Ziploc bag and throw it in the cold water. That's the best way to thaw. That's like 4 steps.
All you got to do is take a pot, put the meat on it, take a pot, put that on top of the meat, walk away.
Walk away. Set it and
simple.
forget it. Ron Pompeo.
515-517-2303. It is the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Oh, boy. That's right, Brian. It's tailgate season, and Central City's got everything a good tailgate needs.
We have all the beer,
All the good party drinks.
And don't forget the White Claw.
hot dogs, brats, and chips.
Kegs and eggs.
And if you fill up your cooler with beer from Central City, we'll throw in the ice for free. By the way, what team is this supposed to represent?
All the teams, Brian. All the teams. I don't discriminate. Tailgate time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
Hey, I'm Mason out here at Mini of Des Moines, one of the motor advisors. Currently this month, Love is in the Air. We are doing a $1,000 mini loyalty on Countryman, $750 on all other models excluding the BEV. Also, we are doing a $500 Conquest cash on select models, so you do get a benefit even if you're not a Mini owner. So for more information, stop at our showroom. Come see me. We're happy to get that information going. Or see us on our Mini website, miniofdesmoines.com.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines, Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage & Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. You know, yesterday we were talking about college basketball officiating, Ross. And John Higgins came up. And I thought, you know what, we should get John Higgins on the show. And full disclosure before we start this interview, okay, because I don't want anybody to say that I'm unfair. I do some things for John. He runs the John Higgins Basketball Association, and I host his podcast, which is Make the Right Calls, where I interview basketball officials from all over the country. So there's my disclaimer, my disclosure, and he joins us now. What's up there, buddy?
Good morning.
You know, Ross, you missed it. He hopped on at 6 o'clock, but he was in his robe. He was just testing the link. He was in his bathrobe.
Oh, yeah. My hair was all screwed up. It was, right. After last night, it was all jacked up. It was fun.
Thanks for giving us time, sir. Greatly appreciate this.
You bet.
Okay, so let's start with Ben Jacobson, and because people have been talking about this. Ben, after the game against Drake the other day, said the call that put Titan Anderson out of the game was the worst call he'd seen in 19 years. You are the coordinator of officials for the Missouri Valley Conference. A, did Ben Jacobson call you? And B, was it the worst call you've seen in 19 years?
Well, A, yes, he did call me, and B, it's not the worst call I've ever seen in 19 years. No, yeah, we had a great conversation, and I'd go way, way, way back with Ben, back to when he was a GA at Augustana, when I scolded him and he was scared to death, and it was a fun line, fun to talk to him about that. But yeah, he sat on it tonight, and that's usually what happens. It was a head scratcher for him, and I understand to a point, but the referee had yelled at both of them to knock the crap off going down the court. Well, they didn't knock it off, and then I don't think the referee realized that was it was going to be his fifth foul, and that he did know it's his best player, but he didn't realize that was their best player, and he's going to have 5 fouls. So I bet if he would have done it over, then he probably would have passed on that and just. I know what I would have done. I would have blown my whistle and told the guys, knock the shit off. Excuse me, I'm not supposed to swear.
No, you can say that.
Totally fine.
Oh, we can. Okay. Okay. Okay, knock the shit off. So anyway, I would have probably handled it that way, and then put the ball back in play. I'm not sure if that kid wasn't doing it on purpose to get him a 5th foul or not. And you don't know that, but if you had to do it over again, probably wouldn't. But like Ben and I talked in that game, if they get 1 or 2 or 3 of those 5 rebounds that they didn't get towards the end and don't foul the 3-point shooter, we're not even talking about that play. So, you know, I love it that everybody likes to blame the referees, and I get it, and it's been like that for forever. However, it usually doesn't come down to one play, one call that the referees make.
I want to get into the future of officiating and what we can do to help get young officials. Let's first go back to you said that Ben called you, and this is something that Travis kind of relayed to us yesterday. He said, "Oh yeah, the coaches call these officials right away." That's how that works. Now he calls you to tell you, "Hey, I said something you're going to hear about."
No, he didn't really. He just said, "What do you think of the play?" And they'll do that from time to time. Or if they think something's really egregious they thought somebody was one-sided, or they thought the guy had a poor game, from time to time, they'll send me clips. It's what I get is a lot of video clips. So this time of year, in the last month, especially starting in February, you get a lot of video clips from coaches when they lose. You don't, this funny thing is, there's some coaches in all these leagues that when they win 4, 5, 6 in a row, I never get anything from any of them. They lose 1, 2, 3 in a row, I get clips like crazy. So it's but they won't call the referees themselves. They'll call me, the supervisor, and that's fine. And usually I have a 24-hour period where they can't call because they're usually really heated and they think with their heart, not with their brains. Until they really go back and look at the video and find out, we were probably right, they probably wrong. Majority of the time, not all the time, because we miss plays. It's like I tell everyone.
It's not in the immediate sunset of that press conference. It's usually the next day or two that you get a phone call. Okay.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
John, you brought up, I want to ask two things because viewers also want to know about this and listeners. I do want to ask, you said he didn't know it was his fifth foul. Isn't it an official's job to know how many fouls a guy has? And B, going to the Houston-Iowa State game, they want clarification on the cylinder foul. Okay. So, A, do you know how many fouls a guy has when they're playing? And talk about the cylinder foul.
Usually, I did. I try to know. First of all, I know who the best players are on the game, and because you want, as an official, to know who the best players are, and you want to try to keep them in the game because you'd rather have the best players in the game rather than the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th guy in the game. There's a reason why they're 8th, 9th, and 10th on the roster. And there's a reason why that guy's starting and he's averaging 18 points a game. So you try to keep those people in the game at all costs. I shouldn't say at all costs, but I mean, you're not going to pass on something that's a legitimate foul, or you're not going to do that. But those are the kind of things that you want to do as an official. It's good for the game. It's good for both teams, and you do it both ways. You're not circumventing the rule. You're just being a smart official. On the play that they called the cylinder play, where they changed the call, I didn't like it. However, his left hand was in his cylinder, in his face. I don't think was. I wish they would have just stayed with the offensive foul. And I talked to him about that. I called him right after the game. I said, let's go through your thought process on why you changed that. Because in my opinion, I don't think anybody says one word if we stayed with the offensive foul. I don't think it's upgrade to a flagrant foul because his arms were vertical. And the rule is if the arms are vertical and they're making a basketball play, it's legal. It's legal if within the confines of your cylinder, offensive cylinder. You have an offensive cylinder, defensive cylinder. So I wish they would have probably stayed with an offensive foul. And looking back at it, they probably wish the same thing.
Ross?
That's wonderful stuff. Can we get into the future of officiating, Trav, and kind of some of your camps?
Absolutely.
Because one of the things that we hear a lot, and I'm sure it's the same thing that you hear, man, officiating at the lower levels, officiating in general has just become under fire at all levels, it seems like. And getting young people to get through this process seems very difficult. It also, a little bit of it does feel like we had a listener yesterday who's been fighting most of his adult life to get into officiating, and man, he feels like he's on the outside looking in. It feels like an old boys club that he can't crack into. What do you say to a young person, a 20-year-old kid that loves sports, his athletic career is coming to an end, he sees officiating as a way to kind of to stay in athletics? What would your advice be to him for the next 10 years?
I would probably say they need to find a very successful mentor. And then get on his shirt tails and listen to what he has to say. That will, he'll take you, he'll lead you the right path to get you up. Like I've done it with Kip Kissinger, Brooks Wells, and I got some younger guys here in Nebraska that I've been helping, and especially in the last 2 years in my role as a coordinator of officials of the 6 leagues. So, go back to the youth officiating stuff. I experienced it a couple of years ago with my son as a 16-year-old. That
you were on the show with us.
Yeah, in Iowa. And it was crazy that these parents, the way the parents act with youth officials is the real reason why we're having a problem getting officials. They are just crazy, nutty people that think their kid is going to be the next Michael Jordan. And I say Michael Jordan because I'm not a LeBron fan. So he's a great player.
But they think this when the kid's 10 years old playing in a Y League.
I know because when my son was playing, and I told the story to Travis before when my son was playing, we went to a tournament up in Sioux Falls in that what's that name of that arena?
Pentagon?
The Pentagon. So they had all those basketball courts. So my son was like 10, 11 years old. It was during the day, and I had the Iowa State-Kansas game that night. And I went up there, and one of our own parents is screaming and hollering at the referee. And I just said, sir, that's not a travel. What do you know about basketball? Went crazy on me, and he's on our team. I said, you need to stop. And the poor kid out there officiating was probably 16, 17 years old, maybe. And the guy was just relentless. And then later that night, when I left after the game, drove to Ames and did the game, I guess all the kids and the families were around eating pizza and stuff. And they said to Josh, there's your dad. He's on the game. And the guy put his head down and didn't say anything the rest of the night, and never came anywhere close to me the rest of the year.
Of course, if you are interested in officiating, and John, do you have to be accepted to your camps? Because you have 4 camps coming up. You've got 3 in Phoenix, or actually, I think 4 in Phoenix, 1 in Kansas City. Do you have to meet a certain criteria, or can anybody go to those? How does that work?
Well, anybody can really go, but you need some experience, because these are the highest level, like Nike EYBL camps, where you got the best players in the country playing at. So it's a college level basketball game. So you have to be pretty good. Although we've gotten some high school guys that have come and that haven't ever been seen or haven't gone to a camp like that, which it's truly a teaching camp. But we are looking for up and coming officials that I think have a chance to make it to the next level. So we guys from the NAI, junior college, Division II, Division III, those guys are all they're fighting to get to the Division I level, because the Division I level pays you pretty good money. So but we take all, we really do. But we got to make it. It's got to be a right fit. There's one of the camps that's probably not as high of a level, and we'll put the newer ones in that camp.
Okay. You are running a number, I think 6 different leagues right now. So just so people are aware, how many different officials are you trying to coordinate on any given night? And when it comes to postseason assignments, do you have a say in who gets the NIT, the NCAA, stuff like that?
So on any given Saturday, I'll have usually on a Saturday, which is the busiest day in college basketball, I'll have between 99 and 105 assignments for that day. So that's quite a few people.
Now, 99, 105 assignments, you mean those 99 to 105 games that you've had to assign officials for?
No.
Officials?
Officials. So
okay.
I'll have 33 to 35 games. So 3 to a game, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of officials.
Yeah.
So the question, the other question you had about the NCAA and the NIT stuff, the NIT, I basically will assign guys when they'll say, okay, John, you got this game and you can assign this one. The NCAA, I put a list together of my top guys and I put them in the NCAA and I recommend certain people. They choose them, not us. And you put a list together of each league puts a list, you give them 10, 15 names, and you put your best ones at the top, and then you rank them accordingly. And that's their process, how they do it. Now they go out, they have their own observers that go out all year long and rate their officials also by how we submit list of who's going to work conference tournaments, who I think the best guys are. Do I think he's a younger guy? Is he ready for a first round game? Is he ready for a second round game? Is he ready for a regional? Is he ready for a Final Four? I put that information in there, and they take it and do what they want to do with it.
A lot of people think that officials aren't held accountable for their calls. You mentioned that you talked to the officiating crew after the Iowa State game. Do you grade? Is it a grading scale? Is it, and are officials ever punished for or is just like you're just not going to work as much next year? How does that work when it comes to grading officials?
Well, every game in the Big 12 is evaluated. Every play is evaluated. Each official is evaluated, so they get a score at the end of each game. So they know by the end of the year, how basically how they're doing. And if I see tendencies, if I get a problem with somebody and he's missing the same play all the time, or I don't think he's up to par on the games that he's doing, I may not give him a Big 12 game. I may give him maybe a lower level game, or I may not give him a game at all. So like my top level guys, I'll sign most of that preseason in pencil throughout the whole year, so I can guarantee I have those guys. The other guys I put in really light pencil, and I go a month to month assigning process to see exactly how they're doing. Because if a guy's having an awful year, I'm not going to keep putting him out there. So there's accountability because it affects their pocketbook. Yeah, that affects their pocketbook. So there's a lot of accountability. People don't realize, referees are on a one-day contract, because they could screw something up, they could be fired that day. And I talk about this all the time with the coaches because they say, you don't realize the pressure we're under. I said, wait a second, pressure. You get fired at a big BCS league, you're getting a pay up for $5 million, like my friend Craig Smith at Utah. He just got whacked. He's going to get $5 million. A referee, he gets whacked, and that his last paycheck was that last game. There is no other compensation.
No severance.
There is nothing. There's nothing. So there's a lot of accountability. So when people, it drives me crazy when people say there's no accountability for officials. There is accountability. There's a lot more than accountability for official that's performing bad than a coach that's going to get a $5 to $10 million payout. And they deserve that. I mean, I'm not saying they don't deserve it because they've worked their butt off to get it, to get to that point, and they've been very successful. We just don't have that golden parachute that they get.
Whether they deserve it or not, it's a conversation. They've signed the contract.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. They're entitled to it. Whether they deserved it or not, it's a whole other story.
You got a point. Yeah, you got a point.
What is the toughest thing, maybe the toughest rule to interpret, or the toughest call to make this year? Because we've always heard about point of emphasis and stuff like that. What's the toughest thing that you've had to really maybe over and over again this year talk to your officials about? That is
I think I continually talk to them about physicality in games, but the tough because I think we let things get a little bit too rough, and if we let it get too rough early in the game, it's not great at the end. It makes it worse. And our league, the Big 12 especially, is one of those leagues that is extremely physical. They got very talented athletes, and they're crazy strong. And look at Iowa State and Houston and Texas State, all these teams. West Virginia, they all play strong physical games. So I'm after the officials about the physicality of the game. But the hardest plays, I think, for us in basketball is a quick out-of-bounds play on the baseline when it goes opposite the lead official. That's one of the hardest plays because it's in a spot that you may not see, especially between two people. That's you see that time and time again. Every night they're going to look at the monitor because they and when you look at it, you're going, wow, that is unbelievably close. You think it went off White, and it's the guy White might have hit it, but it might have tipped off of Black's hand. Those are really hard plays in the basket interference goaltending, whether the ball is on its peak or it's on its way down, are the two hardest calls in my opinion. The black charge play anymore with the restricted area circle and the definition of our rules, I don't think nearly is as hard anywhere if you referee the defense.
Good stuff. A lot of good comments coming in. If you are interested in attending a John Higgins basketball camp, you can go to maketherightcalls.com. Maketherightcalls.com. If you think you've got what it takes, and you can go to Phoenix, go to Kansas City, and test your chops.
See, I've got an idea for you, John. So you take these officials to these really high-level basketball games to sharpen their skills. Maybe you should bring them around a bunch of idiots that don't know how to play basketball at all and see how they do. Like my idea of your officiating camps was that you had a bunch of jabronis like me out there But I didn't realize this is like high-level basketball that these guys are officiating.
Yeah, it is. But we got to determine whether we think they're good enough to be at that level.
That makes sense.
So if I don't want to have a camp where we have bad 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade basketball, and you're calling 20 jump balls in a game.
Honestly, John, that when I heard about your officiating camps, that was the image I had in my head. Yeah. That sounds crazy. Now that I realize it sounds insane, but that was my first image is like, oh, yeah, they got to go ref some bad basketball to cut their teeth. No. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah, you can't. We can't, as observers, we don't know if they could referee at that level or not.
Great point.
And also it's different. A lot of people look good at camps. You don't really know until you turn the lights on in an event. Where there's 5, 10, 15,000 people in the arena, whether or not the guy can actually do it or not. There's a lot of guys that look like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's a bunch of those guys as referees now, but there's a lot of those guys that look like that but can't referee. So especially when the lights come on, and that's the difference. When the lights come on, you got to be able to perform.
All right, before we let you go, you don't. Who's the highest maintenance coach you've had to deal with all year?
I won't answer that question.
How about this? Do you have
You know what? I'll say this. They're at the end of the day, they're pretty fair. Once they've gotten away for 24 hours from the game, they get it. They understand the situation. They understand how hard of a job we have. And we don't have very many. There's a handful.
Okay, not coaches. I want to go the other direction. Fans or arenas? Was there a place that you looked forward to calling a game?
Yeah, there's a lot of like Hilton Coliseum and Fog
playing
Allen.
Playing to the crowd here, Trav. See him?
No, they were great places.
Rupp Arena.
Rupp Arena. Really, seriously. Arizona's a great place to referee. Where else?
Do you have a favorite game?
Duke.
Do you have a favorite game you called in your career?
National championship, Villanova, North Carolina, the last shot. That was the best game.
That's a mic drop right there. That is a mic
remember
drop.
The best college basketball game ever? Yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah, I was there for that. I had my hand up for a 3-point shot.
I was the guy doing this.
Yeah. Hey, I'm the one that I always tell Jay Wright that when I see him, which I want to get him to do our on our show, Travis, for the make the right call. Make the right call. So I stopped the play because there was a bunch of water in front of his bench, so they could draw up a play, basically. So I always tell him, you owe me the national championship.
Give me a ring, Coach. Nobody would think anything of it if I was walking around.
All right, John. Thanks for the time. If something happens during the Big 12 or the NCAA tournament, can you hop on with us?
Hey, man. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
John Higgins joining us on the Rush Radio Show.
I literally thought that the officiating camps were like, all right, guys, we're going to roll down to the Y. You're going to get it because that's where you're going to cut your teeth, man. Can you blow the whistle? No. Can you watch high-level basketball and facilitate it?
And move it at that fast a pace. I hope that clarifies stuff for a lot of fans who yell at officials saying that there's no accountability. They're not graded. They're graded. But it's good to hear like the 24-hour rule. Coach says, Ben Jacobson fired up on Saturday, calms down a little bit on Monday. So, all right.
We should have asked. Charlie wants to know why we didn't ask Higgins about the referee celebration thing. Remember that? When they get a call right, they should be able to celebrate.
Yes! See? I beat the video replay.
Whose house? Whose house?
Our house. Oh,
yeah, hey, can I get the microphone for a minute? I got that call right. Can I get the mic? I heard you back there yelling at me from the 7th row.
Do want to thank John Higgins for joining us today. Good stuff from John. Tomorrow we'll be back at a wonderful 6 a.m. And then who are you going to line up for tomorrow? I lined somebody up for today. It's your
Don't
your
I
turn.
have somebody lined up for tomorrow? I thought we had people lined up.
Yeah. Is Corey coming in tomorrow?
Is it Corey tomorrow? I don't remember if it's Corey or if we're having Press. I think Press is joining us Thursday before Bruno.
Okay.
And then we're having Corey from Bats and Bugs join us tomorrow morning. Pretty sure that's what we set up with him. Pretty sure.
We know what we're doing around here.
Listen, I'm doing the show right now. I'll get to the scheduling when we get done.
Yeah, it's a well-oiled machine. Don't forget Iowa State in action tonight at Oklahoma State. You got Iowa at Illinois. We'll be talking about both of those games and a whole lot more. We want to thank you again for joining us on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Doug Burgess, Service Manager here at Willis Infinity. As we move into 2025, I want to say one final thank you for what 2024 has brought to us. Getting the opportunity to meet many of your customers, and for you, voting us the #1 Google-ranked dealership in the Midwest. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And to know why, and to have that Willis experience yourself, stop on in or go online to make your appointment at willisinfinity.com.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage and Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage and Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage and Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm John Linares, Sales Manager at Willis Lexus, and this month we're going to help you find your perfect match. Stop out and see us. We've got great inventory of NX and NX Hybrid, TX, and ES. We have more inventory arriving daily, and this month Lexus has also brought back the very popular 42-month lease. Stop out and see us or visit us online at willislexus.com.
Not too many places hit all the right notes. But when it comes to great atmosphere and delicious scratch-made food, Truman's is the name to know. Game days are for Chiefs fans, but every day is for the food fans. Truman's, get to know us by name.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.